Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to our Intuitive Creators Spotlight series, where intuitive creators share their stories because they're all inspiring, all fascinating. Today, we have here with us Lucy. She is a self-taught artist and author. She encourages others to find their inner light and explore their creativity. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and to like this video. I am Stella, your host, and I cannot wait to have this conversation today with Lucy. Welcome, welcome, Lucy. So happy to have you here.
Exciting. Thank you for having me here, Stella. It's great.
Yay! I know that your story is really interesting. I can't wait for you to share it with our audience. So, can you please share how your journey into art began and what inspired you to start creating?
Yes, it's a really cool story and I love sharing it. So, um the the short version is that for 24 years of my life I spent being addicted to alcohol and drinking really, really heavily. I did this because I was like I didn't feel like I was good enough, and when I drank I felt confident, I felt better in myself. It gave me it gave me that confidence, and it felt like it changed who I was, and I just didn't feel like I was good enough without it. And then what happened 4.5 years ago? Well, I spent about 8 years previous to when I quit my drinking 4.5 years ago. I spent about 8 years trying to quit my drinking. Um, and I've learned over time, being on kind of a spiritual journey, if you like, that when we try to do stuff, we're doing way too much effort in that doesn't need to be done. It's not on our shoulders to do. There's things that are kind of done for us. Um, and when I quit my drinking 4.5 years ago, a lot of people are shocked by this part, by the way, but I found it effortless. I found it easy to do. I was ready. I was aligned. All of those phrases that make sense to people a lot of the time. It definitely felt like I'd done the groundwork over those 8 years of trying to better myself and trying to find a way to quit my drinking. And when I did, it came with an ease and a flow, and it was like, yeah, this is the time, and I want to do this. So when I quit, um, I started playing. It was in lockdown, and I live on in a farmhouse in North Devon, and our landlady said, "Oh, you can walk around the grounds of the farm and just help yourself," kind of thing. And I found all this discarded slate off the roof. And I just started watching YouTube videos and playing around with paint, and bought some paint. And I've always been quite like arty, like I've always drawn and I've written books, as you mentioned earlier, a published author. So I've always been quite arty and creative in that way. Um, but I honestly, I just started playing. And I think, well, I know what happened for me was because the drink was removed, and the kind of, that film, Home Alone, where when Kevin says, "I'm not afraid anymore," the little kid, I was like that because the drink was gone. So I had nothing to kind of mask me and shield me. It was just like, oh, here's Lucy in the world. So I reconnected to that inner child, if you like, and I just found the joy and the playfulness in art. And I continued following that creative passion and nudge that lit me up from the inside. I was like, wow, this is just so much fun. Um, and it kind of spiraled from there. And as I was just telling you before we jumped on the interview, in March this year, I just took over, well, I joint rent my first art gallery and studio space. So 4.5 years later, one of my biggest dreams has come true from following what I love to do, and following what I like to call like the wisdom inside of us. We have like a little voice of wisdom, but we don't often listen to that. We listen to our mind. Um, so yeah, in a nutshell, that's a little bit of my story and how it came about. And here I am making a full-time living. It's great.
And your work is absolutely fascinating. To everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video to see how you can connect with Lucy and her art and everything else that she's doing, because you may watch this video at a later date. So this is really interesting, Lucy, what you shared, that it took you, sorry, it took you 8 years to try to quit alcohol, and then there was a time when you just knew you're going to do it, and that felt effortless. What do you feel shifted on your journey? Because like from trying to actually going for it, what was that switch that made it effortless for you at that point?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Stella, and it's only been in the last few months that I've been able to really articulate that well. Like I knew what had changed for me, but I didn't know how to word it until I spoke at we have an annual conference here in North Devon, the Being You conference, which we call Being You, Waking Up to What's Possible. So it's a really great title. And in that conference, I shared that what I could see was when we want to be different in the world and we want to change as a person, we have to fundamentally change. And what I'd seen I'd done over those 8 years is I'd grown, I'd blossomed, I'd spiritually kind of changed fundamentally enough to get to a place where I wasn't a drinker anymore. I didn't hang out in that world. I was totally different, a totally different person. So I think it's all about who you are being, and you can't step into anything and be that person until you've done the inner work and kind of grown and fundamentally changed. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. What a beautiful
Yeah.
explanation. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, you embraced art. So clearly, once you opened up, you just knew you're going to go for it. Do you feel that art was always there in your heart? Did you try it before, like maybe while you were in that phase of drinking, or even before that?
Yeah. Yes, is the truth. Yeah. Um, for quite a few years before, I'd always been drawing. I'd done quite a bit of drawing just in my spare time. And I did try painting when I was in my 20s. Um, and I painted a few canvases, and my mum's actually got them on her wall in the in her home at the moment, and they're quite good. I'm like, yeah, actually, I can see that I had quite a. But what I can see is I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't, that perfection that we think we have to have, and all that stuff. It was just like, nah, I can't do this. So yes, the answer is I did always have that inside me. I think we are creative. Like that's how we manifest. We're consciously creating all the time. And I hear a lot of people say, I'm not a creative. And I'm like, you are in your own way, but so yeah, I was definitely always creative in that way. And it took my incredible journey, which I'm so grateful that I had that journey. I'm so grateful that I had the addiction stuff, because I wouldn't have woken up. I wouldn't have seen the beauty in the world that I see now without going through what I went through. Um, we have to do that. We have to do this stuff. We have to be on our path. We have to go through our own journey to get to where we need to get to. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then a lot of the times we may think when we're in those kind of situations, difficult situations, oh, I wish there was a quick fix. I mean, at least I know that I've had this kind of moments in my life. But then over time, you see that even if something takes a bit longer and it's a longer path, it's a longer journey, it also allows us to learn so many lessons. And thank you for sharing all of this, because you are sharing a real story of what it takes to go through something like this with love and kindness and really appreciation for who you are as well. So it's so beautiful that you then went back to art and then embraced it, and you allowed yourself to go with it. So I know that your art is known for its bright and joyful colors, and it's absolutely fascinating. What would you say, what role do colors play in your creative process, and how do you feel it reflects your inner state?
Another great question. Thank you. Um, it's I've always been the kind of person that is really like full of joy and love, and I hid that for all of those years. And it used to come out with the drink, but not in a very good way, or in a pretend way, if you like. And once the drink was gone, I just felt like there's no more hiding. Like, I have to just be who I am, and that's it. And the person that I am is colorful and bright and alive and full of joy, and I am like a 5-year-old. um so I wear, I've got a bright pink top on today. I like bright colors. I like the world. I think the world is an incredible place, and we are so blessed every day to wake up and be in this bright, beautiful, nature filled world that we're in. And the colors that I use on my canvas reflect that, because they I don't try and create anything. It comes through me. I get on the canvas. I get a blank canvas in front of me, Stella, and the colors tell me what they want me to use. Like, the colors choose me. So I just get the brush out, and the color just, yep, right, we're going with that today. And I just start, and it always turns out bright and colorful, even if I'm painting a forest that is technically kind of green and brown, if you like. It's always colorful, because a lot of my work is imaginative and fantasy, and it comes from that place of, I don't think we need to live in reality all of the time. I think we need to spend more time, like, well, in here really, which is our heart and our imagination, and the colors and the way that I paint, yeah, reflects that really. Yeah.
And we create our own realities, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
We choose what kind of reality we want to be in. And then when you embrace something so beautiful that is so aligned with your soul,
Yeah.
then this is magical. And then not only that it changes your energy, but it inspires so many other people around you too. So I know that you believe that painting is really good for your soul. Can you explain why do you feel that, and how can painting or art in general help somebody? How can it be therapeutic for them?
Um, I think I was touching upon this earlier when I was talking about that little voice of wisdom that we don't listen to. And we spend this is what I found in my kind of, I don't know, maybe 12 years of exploring the spiritual inside nature of who we are at our core, is that our mind chatters a lot. Our mind chatters a lot, and we always listen to it. We don't realize, and we don't know that we can leave those thoughts and they'll just pass. um, and we have that voice of wisdom, and we don't connect to that very much. And I run a lot of workshops. I was sharing that with you before we jumped on here this morning, and I get a lot of ladies that come back. And the reason they come back, and I know this because they tell me, is because they say, oh, I don't have to think about anything. I'm just in my zone. I'm just focused on the creativity. I'm just enjoying myself, and I don't think about all the things I've got to do when I'm at home and got my list of jobs. And that is what I think we need to do more of in life. I think we are guided by that wisdom which comes through our hearts, and in our through our inner guidance system, if you like. But we are so conditioned and used to following what our mind says, because we think that's truth. And that's how we recreate, is through following that wisdom from our heart. So the more that we can get out of our head, which painting is a very good way, and lots of other creative things, takes us out of our head and it takes us in here. And that's when our inspired action comes, and our creative nudges, and the things that we can connect to more and follow more of. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Absolutely. We are, as we're recording this video, we have our school holidays here. And a
Yeah.
few days ago, I just decided to do this. We took a blank canvas with my daughter, and we did some pouring art. And it was like, this is so fascinating because you never know what kind of shapes will come up. And then it was just really beautiful to see how these shapes were forming and what she was seeing in them. And like you said, it takes you out of your mind because it's something so beautiful and magical as well. And we need more of that in our life too. So I know you mentioned that you do workshops and you invite people into your space. What would you say is your most favorite aspect of teaching people or guiding them through that process?
Definitely my favorite thing is seeing the joy that it brings. And when you were just explaining that with doing the paint pouring with your daughter, it's the freedom, isn't it? Like, I think humans, we're always saying we want more freedom, we want more freedom. And then we're scared of it because we're so used to controlling every single aspect of our lives that we're afraid to let go of that control and allow the magic of the art to come through and play with that freedom like a child. You know, I haven't got kids, but my nieces, and I paint with them, and they're just like, they don't say, Auntie Lucy, how do we do this? They just go for it, right? So um what was the question again? Did I answer it? I can't remember what you said. Oh,
Yeah, I was just asking, what is your biggest joy or
yeah,
reward when you're teaching people, when you're guiding them through this process?
it's seeing that. It's seeing the aliveness that came through me through from this journey. It's seeing that in other people, and I get to witness that. So I run a lot of workshops, and they fill up really quickly. It's no surprise because I love doing it. They love coming. It's
Mm.
great now. So yeah, and
And you know,
do sorry on the joint, we do these joint workshop days now, so with the other lady that's in the gallery studio space with me, that's what she does, paint pouring. um
oh,
that's her expertise in art, so her work is stunning as well. So we do a workshop where we teach, or she teaches paint pouring in the morning, and then we do my little couple of hours of kind of like fantasy landscape stuff in the afternoon. It's great.
what a great combination, isn't it? And when you're talking, it just showed how you just shared from your heart without really like thinking about the question.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
love that because even if there is one question, then it's what comes from our heart because, you know, our heart sometimes speaks a different language and it's fascinating to look into that. So I know, Lucy, that in addition to your art, you've written a children's book as well. Can you tell us about that and how is that process, that creative process, different to painting?
Yes, I've actually got it here.
Oh.
I've got it next to me because I've been doing my writing again lately because I haven't done any for a while. So yeah, it's very different to painting, obviously, with a written word, but also the similarities are, I think what we like to do when we get in that creative zone is express, and we want to express our unique selves in whatever way that is, whether that's painting or writing or any other form of creativity. So, with the writing, it's just a different way of being able to express who you are, or maybe getting your feelings out. Sometimes for me, I know that I need to release a lot of stuff, and I either have to verbalize it or I have to write it. And there's a lot of releasing and manifesting that happens in that. It's quite interesting actually, Stella. I looked through some of my writing. Oh, I don't know, from a year ago in June, and I'd written this whole piece about being in a gallery and being there 2 days and all of this stuff. And it's pretty much spot on to what I've manifested. In fact, what I've manifested is better than what I'd written. Um, so from that aspect of the side of things, it is different, but it's also, again, it's the joy, it's the process. It's not even about the end product. It never is. It never is with my art, which usually ends up being a really incredible end project but product, but
Mhm.
it's never about that. It's always about the process, and about the most important thing for me in life is to feel good, is to do the things that I can do and help as many people as I can to feel good as well, and point them in that direction. And feeling good tends to come from doing things creatively wise, that, again, as I said earlier, I'm going to say it again, takes us out of here and into here.
Yeah.
So yeah, from
So
that.
why children's book? Why not like a book for adults? Because you work with adults in your workshops. What inspired you to go with that on that path?
Well, I wrote the children's book before I even I'd started my art, but I wasn't teaching or anything like that. I was just playing with art at the time. I'd done a lot of writing, and I was working as a writing coach and helping other women create their books and stuff. It's got to be the reason that the children's book is that I just, that is me. I connect with the fun and the joy of children. And it was so much fun to write this book. Honestly, it is an incredible story. It's really good. I really loved it. And I loved working with I hired a proper editor and a professional editor, and did it like really in a really cool way. And yeah, the children's book, it is just that. It's the joy and the fun that has come alive in me since I stopped the drinking. So I couldn't not go there with it. It was just something I'd always wanted to do. So I did it.
And to everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video because you will be able to find Lucy's book in those links. So feel free to check that out. So I know that you have so many amazing gifts, Lucy. Is there anything that you know you're going to do in the future? Something new, something that you've always wanted to do, a project, a hobby that you may want to share here with us?
Mm, I don't know. Only thing that's been on my mind a little bit lately since I've moved into the studio and gallery is the space that we've got there is incredible. It's more like a studio, and then we have all our paintings hanging up, and you could buy. It's not like a top end gallery in London, and I love that. But I definitely have a dream to have another gallery where I've got staff and it's open, and all of my work is presented there, and definitely that, yeah. But that's about it, aside from, I mean, I run my art retreats as well, once a year, so that's really cool. Just doing more of that, and being open, really, I guess, Stella, is being open to receiving the opportunities that come along. At the moment, I'm reading an incredible book, by Michael Singer called The Surrender Experiment.
Oh, I know that book,
Have
yeah.
you read it? Oh my god, it's
Mm.
it's blowing my mind. Um, and I like spending a lot of time exploring and doing things where what else can I let go of, and what else can I let go of to open space to let new, opportunities in. So who knows what the universe is gonna give to me, but I like to do my best to open up to receive that, yeah.
And I can feel your beautiful joy and everything that you're doing and creating. And every time I see your paintings on social media, I'm like, wow, this is absolutely fascinating. And I loved how you explained, the process of like you're not really thinking, you're allowing for it to come through you, and that's fascinating. So, can you please share with us if you have any daily practices maybe that are helping you with your creative journey? Something that's part of your ritual or routine, something that you want to share with our viewers?
I do spend a lot of time in meditation and silence, as much as I can daily. I really like the idea of having a mind that's more still than it is. So, again, it's going to be kind of the same words as I've been saying all along. This whole getting out of here and into here is a daily practice for sure, in whatever makes sense to you. And at the moment, I like doing a lot of meditation, yoga. It really stills me down, and it really focuses me and helps me just get into that zone, because the quieter the mind is, the more
Mm.
chance you've got for for the flow of life to come through you in a beautiful way. So yeah, they're definitely my daily practices, as much as I I don't always do them, but I do them to the best of what I can do, yeah.
And because you paint so much nature and you have so much nature in your paintings, do you find yourself like traveling to places and then getting inspired by what you saw, or do you feel that it's more like inspiration from the universe that comes to you in the sense of like fantasy images?
It's both. It's definitely
Okay.
both, Stella, because when I go out walking, even if I'm just walking around here, we've got like a forest a couple of minutes away, and I often go walking around there and take pictures of the flowers and the trees and stuff. And I just, the colours definitely get me through my photographs. And then the imagination kicks in when I hit the canvas. So, it's kind of an inspiration of, yeah, the colours and the way that nature just sits and bees, if you like, um, with the added imagination, because I'll start a painting with the colour, as I said earlier. And then I'll see a path, like I'll just see a path appear, so it gets painted in, or I'll see a waterfall, or and that part kind of comes through the flow of life and the imagination. Yeah.
Oh, that's really, really beautiful. And when you talk about your beautiful workshops and all these people coming to you, I know that you've worked with people in so many different ways. Can you share with us a story that just stayed with you from your work with your clients, something that it was a transformation for one of your clients?
Oh God. um, I don't know if I've got anything specific to share. I meet a lot of people, and when I did do a lot of online work, and I finished my membership last month, and I had a lot of incredible feedback from the ladies that said how much they'd grown and blossomed, and how much it's usually their confidence that's, I'm sorry, I just haven't got a specific story. There's so many, but the specific of what happens for the ladies when they work with me is they say that their confidence grows from working with me and being around me and learning so many techniques and things like that. It's the biggest thing is that they feel more confident in calling themselves an artist and going out and producing more on their own, if that makes sense. And the way that they see nature now, like they'll go out and they cannot see a cloud or a tree and think, how would I paint that?
Ooh, that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool. So would you say you work with artists only, or can anyone come to your workshops?
Yeah, anyone. And I don't work with artists much at all, to be fair. A lot of the people that come are completely new, and they haven't painted since at school, and they're probably ladies that are a little bit older, and and they're completely new. And straight away, I kind of tell them that it's fine. You have it all within you. There's nothing to fear. We're just going to take it step by step. It's nice and relaxed, and every single one of them produces an incredible piece by the end. So it's really cool.
Thank you. And I can totally see why they are then sharing that they feel more confident. If you take them from like blank canvas to guiding them through that journey, of course, it is such a beautiful process. To everyone who's watching us, Lucy, if you were to share a message that again comes from your heart, because I can see how beautifully you share your messages from your heart, what would you like to say to everyone who's watching us thinking, oh, I'm not sure I can embrace this path. I'm not 100% sure I have what it takes to go on this path. What message would you share with them?
I think my message is that we're always, again, when we have thoughts like that come in our mind, it's really easy to um, take notice of that. And we never know what's on the other side if we're brave enough to ignore that voice in our head and follow what's in here. I certainly learnt that from my drinking journey. For sure, it was very much like I was so scared to stop the drinking because my whole life was tied up in everything was around the drink. I didn't know that on the other side of that was this beautiful gift of art that was going to come through me. So when we're brave enough, if you can be brave enough to take that first step, you just don't know what magic. I can tell you now that magic is going to unfold and happen for you. All you've got to do is take that first step and trust me, or don't trust me, trust you, because that is what is going to unfold the magic and the beauty in your life next. I've got a tear in my eye now, Stella.
Oh.
Yeah, so do it. You can do it, because we just don't believe in ourselves, and we have that power. We have the power within us to do what we want to do and be able to achieve it.
Wow, thank you so much for this message. This is absolutely the best way to wrap up this episode. And I'm just super grateful that you accepted to be here today with me to share your story with everyone who's watching us, because I truly believe that through our stories, we inspire the world, and through our healing is not only that we heal ourselves, but we heal the
Yeah.
world around us, because it's important to go through this journey and then share with others, teach others. And so we are helping each other through this lifetime journey. So thank you so much for being here today with me, Lucy. Thank you to everyone who watched us. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and let us know your thoughts, because I would love to hear, and I'm sure Lucy would love to hear your thoughts and questions too. And feel free to go and check the description and connect with her. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next time. Bye-bye.